Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to discuss the leaked ruling by the So first off, I do want to make it clear, as I did when I made my Amy Coney Barrett video, that I am pro-choice. Regardless of the decision I made with my daughter to give her up for adoption and, go full term with the pregnancy, none of that has any bearing on my views of a woman being able to choose for herself and what she wants to do with her body. I believe that everybody can make those choices on their own, and they don't need anybody, especially a government, trying to come in and tell them what to do. It's a sad day if this officially gets overturned, and I'm hoping that they'll reconsider, but it doesn't look like they will. The thing that scares me the most about this being overturned is that even medically necessary cases like ectopic pregnancies or babies that have birth defects that, will cause them pain to be given birth and they will die in the end. The fact that women are being denied the ability to have abortions, not only to save their unborn baby pain and suffering, but also to save their own lives in the cases of ectopic pregnancy. So I think that that's just absolutely ridiculous that one cannot choose to do that and be criminalized for it. I'm sure that many can say that women can just go to another state and have an abortion, but I actually talked with my mother about it, and she said that, and I said, yeah, but what about the women who don't have enough money to do that, who can't travel across state borders to, get an abortion? So many states in the Midwest, it seems, are the ones that are overturning this. So even if you go to the next state over, they might not have it. So how can somebody who is subjected to poverty in the first place be expected to go across state lines? So are we supposed to just allow those women to just die because they can't get to another state? It's utterly cruel. And it's insane to think that we should just allow that. America is one of the worst places to be pregnant. Among developed countries, we have the highest fatality rates. So just to be pregnant wouldn't ease things anyways. And now they're expecting people with ectopic pregnancies to continue to go. So our fatality rate is going to go even higher. What's even scarier is in the cases of miscarriages and stillbirths, a woman can still be charged with abortion laws. Some states have already said that they will include those in the laws. Louisiana is one state. And of course, you will be held guilty until proven innocent, of course. Not that it's supposed to be that way, but that's the way it's going to go. So basically, what they're saying is that you would have to prove that your miscarriage or your stillborn birth was not due to anything that you did. And how are you supposed to do that? Now, I have a feeling that, well, it's kind of obvious. All the government states, all the state governments have already known that this is going to happen. So they've been prefacing these with different abortion laws. I'm sure you've heard of Texas. They were the big one. So now in Idaho, in March, a law was passed and the governor signed it in late April. And So the bill that was passed is S 1309. It's called the Fetal Heartbeat Preborn Child Protection Act. So what this states is that if a woman is raped and she gets an abortion, then the family members of the rapist can sue the provider of the abortion for $20,000. So this includes parents of the rapist, siblings of the rapist, children of the rapist that have already been born, and aunts and uncles of the rapist. So if this rapist has 10 brothers and sisters, each one of them can sue the abortion provider for $20,000. Each of the parents, $20,000. Each aunt and uncle and each child can all sue these abortion providers for $20,000. Not the woman directly, but the abortion provider. And not the rapist. God forbid, why not? Why don't we let them have any rights? So this is in Idaho. And I'm sure that this was done as a precursor to Roe versus Wade being overturned. In Missouri, they are trying to pass a bill that states if you get an abortion in another state that allows abortion, that when Missouri doesn't, then the providers of the abortion can be sued by any citizen of Missouri. If I live in Missouri and my neighbor goes and gets an abortion in Illinois and I find out about it, I can go sue the provider and say you gave them an abortion. So all these laws are being put into effect by all these different states, and it's downright scary. It's insane what's going on. A lot of this is to scare the providers from giving abortions because that's, they don't want to get sued and then they'd go bankrupt and everything. So now, one thing to remember, too, is that some states are criminalizing abortions and saying if you, as a woman, go get an abortion, you're going to be criminalized for it. And some states I've read want to make it a felony. Well, what happens when you're a felon? You lose your right to vote. So then, as well, you're taking away the woman's right to vote. On top of all of this, changes to abortion laws and changes to Roe versus Wade affects privacy acts like HIPAA. And that means your medical information is no longer private. And if privacy law is in place, then the police can search through anything at any time. Insurance companies can drop your coverage or raise your premiums because they now have access to what you do and what food you eat. And you went out drinking this weekend. Well, you're an alcoholic and you drink too much, so we're going to raise your premiums. Is this a slippery slope that I'm treading down? Absolutely it is. But can it happen? It sure does sound like it, because I'm not the only one that is talking about this. I have heard all these types of things going on, and it just affects it's such a mushroom cloud effect that it is so scary, the ramifications of what can happen if and when Roe versus Wade gets turned over. It sounds like, and it seems like, all of American freedoms are being chipped away. I even heard of another one that if you're a gun owner, well, you can be a gun owner, you do have to register and everything, but you don't have to register the type of gun you have. Well, now that your privacy is gone, you have to, you're the type of gun you purchase, the type of bullets you purchase, everything. So, and I'm not necessarily for gun rights or against gun rights. That's just a whole nother subject. But it's something I want to bring up because every little freedom and act of privacy is in jeopardy here. Now, I've been doing a lot of listening and researching, and I'm kind of throwing this all together in this video, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen or this is why or this, but it's something to think about, and I want to give everybody an idea of what is also what I've heard and what could possibly happen. So I heard that the major reason for this is because they need to, for lack of better words, save the economy. Okay, so in order to sustain the economy as it is now, okay, they need to, or rather, not they need to, but couples need to have 2.1 babies per household in order to sustain the economy as it is. Right now, what is happening is people are only having 1.5 babies, and that won't sustain the economy. So what do we need to do? We need to provide more babies. We need to pump out those babies so that we can keep the economy up. Okay, so that's one side of it that I heard. Now, when I say the economy, I'm saying Social Security and all social services and everything else that falls underneath that umbrella, like anything and everything that you can think of that has to do with the economy. This is why they're doing it. All right. These are all things that I heard, and it disturbs me till no end that these little things that I am hearing. But now I'm going to backtrack to adoptions and how it will affect adoptions and what is going on with adoptions, because I'm sure you've heard some stuff that has gone on and it just gets my goat, let's say. So, but before I go into all of that, if you're enjoying this type of content and you would like to see more of it, please hit the like button and subscribe to my page. It tells the YouTube algorithm that this is information that is really important and helpful to you, and it will push it out to other people that might enjoy it well. I'm also trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the summer, because that will allow me to go live and interact with you all more and do a little more things that I'd like to do as well. Now, on to adoptions. So, it recently came out in an addendum by Justice Samuel Alito, who has recently also gone into hiding with his family because of this written addendum that was leaked. The addendum states, and I'm gonna read it here, so give me a second. I'm not gonna look at the camera. Nearly 1 million women were seeking to adopt children in 2002, whereas the domestic supply of infants relinquished at birth or within the first month of life and available to adopt has become virtually non-existent. The domestic supply of infants. Because you have the domestic supply of infants and you have the domestic supply of bananas. And, they're the same thing. So we just treat them like a commodity. So, I'm sure you've heard about it. It's all over the place and everybody is talking about it. It's an absolutely horrible thing to say, and it's a horrible thing. It's just horrible to put children into that basket, and birth mothers as it is too. It makes it sound like children are just a commodity and women are just vessels to provide that commodity. But in actuality, what this is all about, really, because you have 1 million women seeking to adopt. So who are those 1 million women? The white, rich elite. Those are the people that are seeking those babies. And that is what this is all about. And you can't tell me it's not. Do you know how much it costs to adopt a baby in the US today? It's between $30,000 and $70,000 depending on if you go with a private agency or a independent agency, or like a smaller type of, maybe seeking one out yourself, like so many women like to do in Facebook groups where they beg people for their babies. I'm going to digress because that's a whole nother subject. And I get very mad when I'm in girl groups and I see women stalking people. Anyways, it's $30,000 to $70,000 per baby. And of course you have to factor in that baby's race, because if you want a white baby, then they're going to be top dollar, and best be sure you're going to be paying upwards of 70 grand for that baby. Now, why can't those rich white people help the mother out and give her that money so that she can keep her own baby? Because that's not what it's about. It's about the rich white people coveting other people's babies because that's their need. Adoption in America is disgusting and archaic. It's a $14 billion industry, and some companies, some adoption agencies make a profit every year of $15 million. If only that money could go to expectant mothers who want to keep their baby but can't because of financial reasons, because most of the times that's why babies are given up for adoption, is for financial reasons, lack of support, lack of financial support, then there wouldn't be a need for these adoptions. Because I tell you, that was my issue. I didn't have any way to support my daughter. I didn't have financial support. I didn't have any way to give her what she needed. So I had to. I mean, yeah, the issues with my parents and everything, but if I had money, I wouldn't have had to stay with my parents, so then I could have kept my daughter and found emotional support elsewhere. And I really just needed that financial support. But anyways, I digress. This isn't about me. Anyways. So the more you learn about adoption in America, the more disgusted you will get. I promise you. I promise you, you will. And I think a lot of it is coming to light now because of these statements made by the Supreme Court and Roe versus Wade getting overturned and everything. And I'm glad, because it needs to. People need to realize what it really is all about and how it really is. I was telling my mother today about how hopeful adoptive parents make websites in order to attract expectant mothers to give them their babies. Like, there are whole companies that will create a website for you so that you have the buzzwords in adoption in order to literally coerce someone to give them their baby. Anyways, so everybody is always under their impression that, the adoption is beautiful narrative, because that's the only propaganda that everybody's always heard. Nobody's heard otherwise, and it's finally coming out, and I'm happy that it is. Adoption is far from beautiful. It is trauma for the child, and it is trauma for the birth mother and birth father. It could be, but a lot more times it's harder on the birth mother because of the hormones, and you're actually giving birth, and I don't want to say that they're equal, but I don't want to say that they're unequal either. But that's another whole issue. So there is trauma involved with it. The baby will grow up with adoption trauma. The birth mother will grow up with relinquishment trauma. And both are equally, no, they're not equally damaging, because I can't say that because I'm not an adoptee, so I don't know what it feels like. So I'm going to retract that statement right there. Anyways, more and more is being researched every day about adoption trauma and relinquishment trauma, and more is coming to light about how traumatizing it is for the adoptee and for the birth mother. Am I saying that all adoptions are horrible? Am I saying that everything about it is bad and everybody ends up in this suicidal, depressive state? No, absolutely not. Some people are perfectly fine. Some people are much worse off than others. Some people have slight trauma and you know, have some aspects of it, but it's not paralyzing as it is to other people. Okay, I'm not going to get into the facets of adoption trauma. That's a whole nother series, not even a video. That's a series, and I'm working on the research for it because I want to be really thorough with that, but I'm not going to discuss that right now. So no, I'm not saying that every adoptee or every birth mom is messed up. There is a higher potential than if one wasn't adopted. Watch some of my other videos where I talk about, you know, adoption trauma, which is almost every video. But anyways, watch them for some clarification. Or even Google adoption trauma. You'll come up with this definition and about 45,900,000 results. I cannot believe that in this day and age, we are having this discussion in this country. I can't believe that if Roe versus Wade gets overturned, we're going to have more adoptions take place, because that's the way things are going. Yes, people will still be having abortions, but not at a higher rate. Yes, people will keep some of the children, but there will be a lot more adoptions in this country. I can see it now. We are going to have more babies with adoption trauma, and we're going to see more women become birth mothers and have PTSD and emotional scarring that never leaves. Because trust me, your world changes when you give away your child. And, you know, my adoption reunion videos are going to become more important for more people, because in 20 years, all the children that are going to start being given up for adoption are, well, not all the children, but some of the children are going to be seeking out their birth parents and vice versa. And they're going to need to help traverse the roller coaster of adoption reunion. You know, I was thinking before that my videos might become obsolete because less and less people were giving babies away for adoption, and there were more and more open adoptions. I think I'm wrong, because it seems like more and more women are going to be forced into choosing either parenting or relinquishing their babies because of what's going on. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.